You open a chat box, type a few sentences, and press enter. Instantly, an entirely functioning application interface renders in front of you. Tools like Claude Design and Canva 2.0 have moved the starting point of design from a blank screen to a finished product. Product managers and marketers no longer need to spend weeks going back and forth with designers. By simply talking to the software, they can output interactive prototypes and marketing decks that automatically read their existing codebase to match their exact brand colors and typography. This chart shows Figma's stock price since its IPO, alongside Adobe's recent trajectory. When these text-to-design features launched, the market reaction was immediate. Within hours, Figma's stock took a sharp drop, pushing it down more than 80% from its peak, while Adobe, Wix, and GoDaddy all suffered simultaneous sell-offs. Two radically different companies arrived at this exact endpoint simultaneously. Anthropic, a research lab, built Claude Design from the AI side. Canva, an established creation suite, rebuilt its 200 million user platform from the design side. Both concluded that visual creation now starts with a conversation. AI native design represents a direct challenge to traditional software models. When the tool can generate a professional interface through a single prompt, the economic value of a subscription for a blank digital canvas begins to evaporate. But the frictionless experience on your screen hides a heavy industrial reality. Every time a user generates a design or codebase, the request travels to massive, power-hungry data centers. Frontier models are now remarkably cheap to train. DeepSeek built its breakthrough R1 architecture for just $6 million, a fraction of what it costs to maintain the high-density infrastructure needed to serve that model to a global user base. That physical strain is why DeepSeek, a company entirely self-funded by a quantitative hedge fund, was forced to raise $300 million. Their API services face frequent outages, and they need that money purely to keep the servers running and prevent their infrastructure from collapsing. The hardware required to process these requests is in incredibly short supply. Spot pricing to rent NVIDIA's new Blackwell chips surged 48%, jumping from $2.75 to $4.08 per hour in just 2 months. The software feels weightless and infinite, but it relies entirely on the finite, expensive physics of silicon chips and grid power. To cope with these hardware costs, AI companies are employing tokenizer inflation. When you submit text or code, the model breaks it down into pieces called tokens. Companies are quietly updating their systems to break identical inputs into far more tokens, charging you for the extra fragments while keeping the advertised price exactly the same. Look at the recent release of Claude Opus 4.7. Independent developers ran identical code sessions through both the old and new versions. They found that technical documentation inflated by 1.47 times, and a standard coding session jumped from $6.65 to over $8, a hidden cost increase of up to 30%. We are watching a direct conflict between two deployment models: massive, highly expensive cloud infrastructure controlled by a few companies, and highly compressed models running directly on your personal hardware. Hardware costs are only one side of the ledger. There is also AI capital. This is the productivity value you build up over months of interacting with an AI tool, correcting its mistakes and feeding it your codebase and communication style until its accuracy doubles. AI development is shifting toward agentic systems that can execute complex tasks independently, rather than simply providing answers in a chat interface. Canva 2.0, for example, rolled out agentic orchestration. These agents integrate directly into Slack, Gmail, and Zoom. They have the capability to use corporate credit cards, book calendar meetings, and purchase software without human oversight. The price of admission for this automated workforce is surrendering your data portability to a closed ecosystem, an ecosystem that is actively positioning itself to make financial decisions on your behalf. The anxiety surrounding these systems is spilling out of the tech industry. It is triggering active alarm in university faculty lounges, corporate engineering departments, and mainstream media. An AMD senior director publicly stated the newest AI update has degraded so much it cannot be trusted for complex engineering. At the same time, celebrities like Reese Witherspoon are broadcasting automation warnings to millions of Instagram followers, stating that jobs held by women face heavy exposure to AI replacement. In academia, professors are reporting widespread burnout as they attempt to police a flood of AI-generated assignments. The traditional university grading model is structurally failing because existing systems simply cannot detect the new generation of synthesized student work. AI has successfully eliminated the blank screen, delivering polished design and code in seconds. But that magic comes with strict conditions. Users are entering a tightly controlled, increasingly expensive digital economy, where the platforms own the compute hardware, dictate the inflation of costs, and hold your entire professional context hostage.